Welcome to another episode of DD on the Spot. As always, I'm your host, Ryan Johnson. Not even going to do our intro because, Ashley's been on, it's going to be her third time now. So once it gets to that point, you really don't need an intro. But people will realize that this is usually less than the year that I like to have my guests on in between. But there's a very special reason for that. Ashley is 8 months pregnant. So yeah, she's on here to talk about how she's getting through it because God bless her. I have no idea how I would do that myself. But again, I do not have to worry about that. So, again, Ashley, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, not a problem. Thanks for having me on.
So we last did ours about 9 months ago. So that means you must have found out a month after that. What was that like discovering that you were pregnant?
You know, it was a whirlwind because we had to go through fertility treatment. So that is something that we were, of course, wanting to happen. But we did not expect to get pregnant as fast as we did. So we were very fortunate. We were ecstatic. So we found out we were pregnant at 4 weeks. So 4 weeks pregnant is when we found out, and we were over the moon.
Did you have any symptoms prior to that wanted you to get tested? Did you nauseous or anything?
No. So we did what's called an IUI. So we were, waiting to see if I had gotten pregnant or not. So really and truly, we had, done something to try and get pregnant. So we were kind of just waiting to take that test. So I, to be honest, I didn't have any symptoms. I was very lucky.
With my mom, with me and my two brothers, she knew because she would just vomit uncontrollably for a couple days, and then she'd be like, "Oh, probably should get tested now because I don't feel sick at all." So
yeah,
there's that.
See, I was lucky. I had no morning sickness.
Well, we have Mother's Day coming up this week. I always think about that poor woman. She's 5'2", and she gave birth to my 6'3" self. So bless her and bless her and everything. What she had to go. I was the big one in the bunch. So, and did you have that moment of just how am I gonna still maintain my sanity and my fitness as well throughout this journey? What was that like?
Oh, absolutely. That has been a constant indicator of which direction I go for that day. But I have been lucky that I have, been fit, majority of my adult life. So I was going to maintain that as best as I could. Now, I knew that meant I was going to have to slow down and back off on some of the heavy weightlifting. And it's not so much that you can't lift that weight, but it's just really bad for your pelvic floor. So I'm learning all about that. But it's been a roller coaster, to say the least.
What have core workouts been like? Have you done anything like that, or what's that been like?
So the first trimester, you can still do a little bit of core. It's more so like planks and no crunches, nothing that, completely contort your stomach. But after that, you do have to do core standing stuff and just breath work, which is really boring, but it's what's safe for you and the baby.
Well, and the question that I was looking forward to asking you more than anything else, cravings. What has that been like?
The funny thing is for me, this entire time I have craved just big salads. I know, I'm boring. But this last trimester, I've really wanted sweets. So donuts, of course, have been a huge part of my diet this last trimester. But I've also tried keeping things healthy because I don't want gestational diabetes.
What's your favorite type of donut?
Well, All Joy is a place in South Carolina. It's about an hour away from where we live. They catered our wedding. Their donuts are my favorite. But if you were to go to any donut place, I would say chocolate with sprinkles.
That's a good one. I'm just the plain glazed donuts are fine by me. I really don't have a preference, but
yeah,
I can. And how long into the pregnancy until you learned that you were having twins?
So I'm glad you asked that because I was like, do I say I'm having twins? Do I not say I'm having twins? So 6 weeks. So the first initial time that we found out we were pregnant, we didn't know we were having twins. We went back 2 weeks later to our fertility specialist, and he surprised us and said that there are two babies. And the funny thing is we did everything in our power to not have multiples. Because when you do fertility treatment, it is more of a possibility to have a multiple pregnancy. But we actually went through the process and told our doctor to only leave one egg. And so he did only leave one egg.
And then nature just said, screw you, basically.
Yeah, it's just like, they were like, nope, you can't plan this. And God has a sense of humor. So it just happened to be that he was like, well, our doctor's exact words. He said, I honored your wishes and I left only one egg, but there are two heartbeats. And I started crying. My husband was laughing and smiling. And I wasn't sure if I was crying because I was happy or terrified.
Your husband deep down was going, crap, I need that promotion now. Good God.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I always thought just how crazy it was, like back in the day when they couldn't tell before, like when you were actually giving birth, they're like, oh, hey, by the way, you got another one in here. Just imagine that at least. That's just, at least they can tell now. But yeah, that is so. I mean, obviously you haven't had kids before, but being that you are pregnant with twins, is there anything that they have you do different than someone who's just having one kid?
Oh yeah, everything's so different. It's crazy because I'm just winging this, like I am totally new at being pregnant, being a mom, everything. So of course I'm Dr. Google over here, but everything is different. You have to get monitored more often. You get more sonograms. You are considered high risk. So there's just more that can possibly go wrong. And I know that sounds terrible, but because there's two, there's just higher risk. And so a bit of everything is different. Your nutrition has to be more, you have to eat more. And I'm only 5'2", and before I got pregnant, I was 108 pounds. So I'm like, where on earth am I going to put two babies? And it's been a whirlwind.
My mom was 98 pounds when she was pregnant with me. So that poor woman, I still, God bless her. But yeah, that's just crazy that, what you have to go through. But in this pregnancy journey, what's been your favorite part and what's been your least favorite part?
So my favorite part, honestly, my first 2 trimesters were awesome. I felt great. Like I said, I didn't have any symptoms. I had 0 morning sickness, which is odd, especially for a twin pregnancy, because when you have a twin pregnancy, you have more hormones and, double the hormones. And then, so of course you have that more, the side effects are, more morning sickness than you would for a singleton. So my favorite part, honestly, has just been learning a new way of training and learning a new way of the human body. That's been really cool. That was my first 2 trimesters, but then my least favorite has been the 3rd trimester, where I don't feel as great. I am waddling when I walk. Everything hurts, and just as of yesterday, I started swelling in my feet. So I've been lucky. So I guess my least favorite is just not feeling myself.
What does swelling of the feet feel like? Because I've heard that from pregnant women. I just can't imagine what that would feel like.
I've been fortunate that I just now started getting that, but it's like tender to touch. So I basically have cankles right now. It's not cute. My husband yesterday, we were at the doctor. Yeah, we went to the doctor yesterday, and he looked down at my feet and he was like, your feet look swollen. And I looked down and I was like, oh my gosh, they are, but I didn't even know it. And then I just reached down to touch them and they're tender to touch. It just feels kind of like your feet are asleep as you're walking. It's not fun.
Well, I mean, we've talked about this before, like the reactions that you get just being in shape and, having the look, but adding the fact that you're pregnant with twins now, what is that reaction that you get? Because we talk about, how rare it is to see even someone in really good shape like you, but the pregnant on top of it, that's finding 1 in a billion, basically.
It's, it has definitely tested my patience with people because obviously I am, a professional bodybuilder, and that has always been like my billboard. So I've had to really adjust, what am I without my physique? And that sounds terrible, but you do have to kind of adjust your like mindset as to, all right, this is a different stage of life, a different page in the book. And so I've, you know, I've heard great comments, and then I've also, the longer I've gotten into the pregnancy, people are like, "You look like you're about to pop," and they don't mean anything by it, but at the same time, you're like, "Yeah, trust me, I know." Like so it's
At least they're not coming up to you and saying, "Hey, are you pregnant?"
yeah, yeah, exactly. And but I love to like throw it in people's face. I'm like, I'm actually having two, just to like, because right now, I mean, it's a big belly, but it's all in my belly, and it does look like I'm about to pop, but you
So
know.
this is a fun story time for me. So my last job that I worked at, my boss, she had just a huge stomach, but it was weird because like she was everywhere else was fine. So I obviously thought that she was pregnant. I was about to say like congratulations, something like that, but I didn't. And then the next day I was talking to people and I was like, is she expecting? They're like, no, she just naturally just looks like that. And I was like, oh, thank God.
Ooh,
Oh,
yeah,
dodged a bullet on that one right there. But
yeah,
it was
yeah.
weird because like everything else was like normal, like there's no fat or anything else anywhere else. But it was just, I guess, I mean, she did have like 3 or 4 Mountain Dews a day, so that might have something to do with it. But anyway, I learned that you guys got to make sure now. You got to make sure you're 100% now, because God forbid you be that
Yes.
one person.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
and I mean, you still, like I see on your Instagram a lot. You still have that workout center that you've built now, where you do a lot of cardio. I wish I would have it like you, where like you can actually like see nature when you're doing stuff out there like that. Because yeah, that is great. How's that been going along?
Yeah, so we built my gym, which is going to be, we've literally done everything all in 1 year. So my 1 year wedding anniversary is actually on Mother's Day this Sunday. So during that year, we have built a house, we went through fertility treatments, and we have started my business, which is my gym. So we've built my gym, um, and we call it the barn. So that's where I train my clients at. It has been really nice to have that, especially during this pregnancy, because there's just, you know, some days where you don't want to be around a lot of people, and you just want to be comfortable and let your belly hang out when you work out. And so it's been really nice. I love it.
So, what is one exercise that you're looking forward to doing the most after you have your kids?
Pull ups.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, ready for pull ups, ready for anything that I can engage my core with. You know, it's not something that most people like wish they could still do, because people are like, oh, I hate doing crunches or anything like that. But it's tough. Like I enjoy doing pull ups, and it, is, really good for my professionalism and bodybuilding, because the lats, I really, have strong lats, and it's been tough because I enjoy pull ups. So I'm ready to get back at that.
How have you still maintained like an upper body though? Because that's just insane. Like, how do you do that? Because most people I see, like, they lose a lot of it, but like you still maintained a pretty good chunk of it.
I've been pretty strict through this pregnancy. I've still lifted at least 5 days a week. Um, I have walked 3 miles a day, except for the third trimester when I started hurting. I backed it down to 2 miles a day. So I've been very stubborn too. Like, people are like, you don't have to, just listen to your body. And I'm like, yeah, So I honestly, I haven't skipped a beat. I've just had to back off on how much weight I'm actually lifting. So that's how I've maintained it. I've just kept on going.
I mean, being a bodybuilder and having that personality, I've always found, anytime one of them gets pregnant, that it's just so fascinating, because that's like nature's way of telling you to slow down a little bit. But what is that like, really having to do that? Because I know a lot of bodybuilders and that personality type, it's just not conducive for that change, really.
It's been tough. Like I said, I'm very stubborn. So my poor husband feels like he probably just can't tell me anything. And
He's the
most
MVP, everyone. Let's all give a shout out to him right there, because, I've always said the unsung heroes, but especially, is he doing the late night craving runs?
Because I haven't really had many cravings, he hasn't had to, and right now he's having to do a lot of other things like laundry and dishes because I can't bend over the way that I once could. So he's been doing a lot, but the slowing down has been the hard part. I don't slow down. I have no chill. I have no rest. So it's been tough for me, and I really think that that's why the swelling has started because I don't sit.
How many steps are you still getting in a day?
I had to turn off my steps because I was getting obsessed with it. I was like still trying to meet certain numbers, and I found myself. I was like, you know what, like if I try to still get in 17,000 steps a day while pregnant, like I'm going to run myself ragged. I'm like, so I'm just going to turn it off and just listen to my body for the time being.
You're going to be that person when your water breaks, you're going to be like, okay, we got to walk to the hospital now, basically.
Yep. Oh, for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I started in this May. I'm doing my 15,000 steps a day, and that's enough even for me. So luckily, like I said, I live close to the nature parks and everything. And it's just so amazing what's happening to your body. What's one thing that you found out about your body that you never really knew that you had before? Because a lot of women talk about how they just experience like that their body can do so much more than they originally thought it could.
Honestly, for me, I did not think my stomach could get this big. And I know that that's just, cliche thing to say, but I am a very petite person. 5'2". So when you're having twins, especially, you don't realize how much bigger your stomach can get because, like 4 weeks ago, I was like, oh man, I can't imagine me getting any bigger. Well, I got much bigger and I continue to get bigger. And, the human body is crazy for one, but the female body is, it blows me away.
It really is. I mean, one of my brother's friends, just his ex-roommate just had a kid, and I went and saw a kid, and it is just crazy when you think about, all the stuff that goes on with that. And it was funny though, because they had their kid, like a month before they got married. So I was like, I can technically call that kid a bastard then. So, I always joke about that though, but it's, but it's a cute kid. But I mean, I've been honest with people. Like I'm one of those people where I don't really find babies like that cute. Like for me, it's like, it's cute, but like that one was like actually one of those where I was like, oh, that's actually like not, cause like everyone always lies a lot of times. They're like, oh, that's such a cute kid. And then they're like, no, it's not. Which trust me.
Yeah.
My cheeks were bigger than they are now when I was born. So I was a fat baby, first of all.
I was too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was too. But I've always been that way. I've always been newborns freak me out.
Yeah.
People are like, who do you think they look more like? I'm like, they look like a potato. Like they don't look like either mom or dad. So I'm interested to see. Of course, I want to think my children are beautiful, but I'm the same way.
Is it hard? Because like, obviously when you're having two kids at once, do you think it'll be hard, like not like favor one of them or do anything like that? Because like I'm the middle child, so don't even get me started on that. But like, especially when you're having two at once, because a lot of people always talk about how the firstborn, it's like a different bond with the mother, but like you're having two firstborns really at the same time.
Yeah, me and my husband actually talked about that last week, and I really hadn't thought about it until he mentioned it. He, out of nowhere, we were at dinner, and he was like, I'm afraid I'm going to like one more than the other. And I was like, well, I mean, that, one of them may gravitate towards things that you enjoy more. And I was like, but I don't know. I guess it's going to be trial and error. Like I've never had kids. So like, I guess I'll have to experience it myself, but obviously you're going to love both kids, but I'm sure there will be one that you find more, that you gravitate towards,
My mom likes my older brother the best. We all know it, but like, Mom, if you're listening to this, I still love you, but we know, like, come on, you can drop the act now. I know you love us all equally, but no. Yeah. Anyway, so that's why I just wanted to ask that, but it's just, it is crazy and fascinating what has all been going on. And I mean, how long do you think you'll take before you get back into the swing of things? We're not even talking about like competing wise, but like how long, because I know sometimes they tell mothers to wait a certain amount of time after you have a kid before you really like do anything like super strenuous, but are you going to, please don't tell me you're gonna be one of those like the next day or just like doing push-ups in your room and stuff like that. And people are like, Ashely, come on.
I totally would if I could. I guess really and truly because there's twins, we don't have a specific delivery plan because twins kind of make the plans themselves. So we don't really know how we're going to deliver the twins. It could go, emergency C-section. It could go natural birth. So of course that's going to play a huge indicator, but they say not to do anything for 6 weeks, and obviously I don't want to go against what I'm not a doctor, but the moment I get the green light, absolutely. And until then, I will be walking. I will be probably doing just, arm stuff, like without weights if I can, be lifting the babies, whatever I got to do. But I won't waste much time.
So you actually introduced me to a new term that I'd never heard of in my entire life. What is it a baby moon? Is that what it's called?
Baby moon, yeah.
Never heard of it before until you told me. So what is a baby moon? Because I had never heard of it myself, and I looked it up, and it's apparently more popular than I thought. But what is a baby moon for those who don't understand?
Yeah, so a baby moon is just a time for you and your spouse, whenever you are pregnant, to just go away and enjoy each other before the storm. So the calm before the storm. So just enjoy a little bit of time together. It doesn't have to be we just went to Hilton Head. It didn't, some people go to extravagant places, but I'm like, I don't have any energy for any of that. And also I'm pregnant. I can't do a lot of the fun stuff. So, just a time for you to just relax before your world gets turned upside down.
It was so funny because I told my grandpa about that because I was talking to him and I was like, yeah, I have someone who I talk to a lot and they're going on a baby moon. He goes, what's that? And I told him that and he goes, people these days. But he's one of those old school kind of guys where
I just get it.
Oh my God. But no, I'm like, that's great. That's all. I mean, honestly, there should be more. So when it comes to your work, how long are you planning on taking off in between? Please don't tell me you're going to be writing workout guides for people like the day after as well. We're talking about day. I know I'm talking to Ashely here, everyone, but I mean, it's please just lie then.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still writing workout plans. I still have clients that I'm doing online stuff for. And I plan to continue doing that until I'm ready to come back. People love and respect me as their coach and they want what's best for me, but also I have a duty to help them. And so if it got to a point where I felt like it was bringing on too much, I have such understanding clients that they would be like, take the time. We'll be here when you're ready. But luckily I write plans and they don't need me right there in front of them. So I'm hoping to get back as soon as possible with one-on-one training in person. But again, it just really and truly what the twins have in store for me.
I hate to play devil's advocate here, but what is one thing you wish you had known about pregnancy before any of this happened?
How isolating it can be, especially for a twin pregnancy. There's not a lot of moms I can relate to, especially in the fitness world. If there's a lot of people that are like, oh, just relax, kick your feet up, but when it comes to having twins, I can't pick up the phone and call anybody really and ask if they've ever experienced this because they have no idea. So it's been very isolating for me, and that was something I wish I had been more prepared for.
Yeah, I mean, well, and we talked about the public's reaction, but what is that getting the reaction of just being a pregnant person in general? Because I've always found that people just have such a reverence for a pregnant woman. When they see him, what's that kind of being treated? You get treated a lot better, let's say like that. You don't have to stand around too much. You don't have to do, what's that getting that little bit more preferential treatment? Well deservedly so, I should say.
Yeah. I enjoy it, obviously. It's the gym that I go to work out at if I'm not working out at the house is filled with a lot of college kids. So they have been, it's actually been pretty nice.
I would just say I will be pissed as hell if I saw you walking. I was like, okay, she's pregnant. She's in better shape than me. What the hell's going on here?
Yeah. So it's been really nice working out there. They kind of do a lot of things for my ego. So I get a lot of compliments there. So other than going to the gym and working, I don't get out much just because I've got so much else. I go to the doctor all the time. I feel like that's my second home, and our doctor is an hour away. But it's been nice because
An hour away.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So because we are high risk, we want to see one in Savannah. There, I live in Register, Georgia, so dirt roads. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, like, I have the Mayo Clinic literally 15 minutes or like an hour away from me, one of the best. And then I got the University of Minnesota one, which is like half an hour away from me. So and I literally got one like a couple blocks around. But yeah, that is wow. I had never that is an hour drive. So wait, please tell me it's a shorter distance when you go into labor, though.
No, yes, it won't be, but I would rather have qualified doctors.
Does your husband know like the back roads that he can go maybe a little bit faster on and stuff to get there? Or?
I'm sure he does, but it's all interstate. And luckily, my husband, whenever I go into labor, he's going to probably not really care who's much in the way. He's going to have on those emergency lights. And
I've always thought it was hilarious, like that Ricky Bobby scene when he's born because his dad's driving too fast and then stops and the baby just goes. It's like, don't make that happen. But and again, I just can't believe because I remember the last time you were talking, literally when I said a year from now, where'd you like to get? You said we'd like to maybe have a kid on the way or something like that, and then literally a month later, so hey, it works obviously, in mysterious ways. But when we do talk to you again a year from now, where would you like to be at now? Because who knows?
I would love a year from now, honestly, I hate the term bounce back because I just think that's a woman goes through so much to have a baby. And so like society expects a mom or a woman to bounce back into her previous body. And that's just not fair because her body's been through a lot. But I would like to feel like myself again. And then, of course, have two healthy, beautiful baby girls. That's all I can honestly wish for a year from now is to have two healthy babies.
How early until you strap on the ankle weights and everything like that on them and, get them going?
We had our baby shower last weekend or the weekend before.
And I saw that you had those plastic dumbbells and everything. Yeah, they got it going, yeah.
So they're ready. So they're still in the womb and they have kettlebells waiting for them. So it won't be long.
that is so great. And yeah, I mean, I always found that because like I've talked to people in the Hollywood industry on the other podcasts that I do, and they always talk about like for women, they like give them like a month to like get back into it for like the stars and stuff. And you're like, what do you like other than like extreme dieting and literally doing like 10 hours of cardio a day? Like I don't. So yeah, I've always found that hilarious too, where people just expect not hilarious, well, hilarious in a way, but also just like how they expect women, after all that stuff that you go through. Again, all I think is one person who's born a male to go through that would, change a lot of people's aspects about, how tough it is and everything. And yeah, I mean, it is just so great. And I honestly am drawing a blank right now for the first time ever in this podcast history. So I am I had some questions labeled out. So give me literally like 5 seconds and I'm going to do my Jimmy Neutron where I try to think.
You're fine. I get it. I have pregnancy brain.
Okay. So that's the thing. Thank you for bringing that up. So pregnancy brain, how does it compare to prep brain and what are the differences if there are any?
Prep brain stems from, you're hungry. You're just hungry and all you can think about is food. Pregnancy brain is literally, I will put my like the other day I opened, I put these caramel drips in my coffee and I had just opened one and I immediately threw it in the trash. And I was looking for it 5 minutes later and I realized that I opened it and put it in the trash. I mean, just doing things like that. And I'll put something away and I'll look around the entire house for it. And it's just so crazy. Like you almost feel like it's more of a dementia type of thing. Like you just don't know. You have no clue. And then prep brain, you're just like, I know, but I don't care. And you're just forgetting stuff. It's crazy.
I mean, I did like 23,000 steps one time last week just because I had so much free time and I really want to get in. I was making mac and cheese later for myself and I accidentally poured the mac and cheese into the garbage can, like the actual stuff. And so, you're just like, and while I'm doing it, I didn't know that it was wrong until it was later. And then I went to go put it in the pan and I was like, And I'm like, oh, and I was like, I kind of understand for 1/100th of a second, what it's like for these people and what they go through. But I
Yeah,
mean, yeah. How
it's just
how
crazy.
is how do you have a normal IQ after going through prep brain and now going through pregnancy brain all those times? Like it's amazing how much the brain can retain even when it's like operating at low capacity.
Oh yeah, I can rest assured I am ready for mom life, because if I can get through that and this, like, I'm ready to take on, two little girls. So
I don't want to bring this up because, like I said, I never experienced it myself. But like giving birth can be a very hard process. Have you like psyched yourself up for it, or what? How have you done that? Because obviously, I'll never experience that myself. But I've just heard stories, and it. I've always found it funny how after some people go through it, they say, "Oh, that wasn't so bad. Let's have another one." When it's like, but how have you dealt with like? Because a lot of people do have a little bit of fear about that before it happens because it can be painful for a lot of people.
yeah, I mean, I totally have fear. I'm not going to say I'm fearless about it. Right now, my biggest concern is, how am I going to deliver the babies? Um, I wish I had more of a plan. Like, this is, you're going to deliver them naturally or you're going to deliver them via C-section. But it all depends on my baby A, which is the one that's lower down. It all depends on her positioning. And if she is not head down, I have to do a C-section. And right now she's breech. So we're doing all kind of crazy breech. She's like kind of like folded up, like her feet are like towards her face. So right now I'm doing all these crazy inversions, trying to get her to flip in my stomach.
What are they trying to have you do to get her to flip?
They're not having me do anything, but there's a website called Spinning Babies, and that's what she specializes in. And it's basically like hanging off the couch upside down. Yeah.
I was honestly going to guess that. So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's as crazy as it sounds, but, and if someone were to walk into my house, like, they'll see me doing that at least 3 times a day. Only for 30 seconds.
I mean, you already have pregnancy brain, but now all the blood's rushing to your head too. It's just, hey,
I mean, it's like a circus at my house.
I mean, yeah. And so one thing that I was going to say, so I know someone who's in the very rare of terms of like the rarity of this ever happening when someone's birth. So my best friend in high school, he was a twin. So him and his twin obviously were born on the same day, but they were also born on the same day as his older sister, which is like a 1 in 130 million coincidence.
Wow.
Like that they have that. So
that's crazy.
I mean, you got it. Okay, so at least they're not identical twins, because identical twins, like we talked about before the podcast, they tend to like just hang out with them. Like they tend to like be, I'm just gonna say, a little weird. Let's be honest. Like at times.
Yeah.
So fraternal twins, at least they have that, but at least they're getting different personalities too. Because like there was that pair at my school where literally they dressed almost the same and they like the same things, and were just like.
That would freak me out. Yeah, I'm really happy that they're fraternal.
Did you see that show where twins got married to other twins?
No, that's really weird.
So a set of twins got married to another set of identical twins. So technically, because of the DNA and everything like that, their kids are going to be exactly the same.
Oh my gosh,
because they're twins,
that's weird.
And they moved in together too. So the two sets of couples are living together too.
That's like, I feel like that would be a form of incest, but
it really is when you think about it. I mean, that's. I mean, I saw that and I was like, yeah, a guy that I follow on YouTube made a whole thing where he's just critiquing that, and it was. It is just.
In today's world, that doesn't surprise me.
So, what advice do you have for pregnant mothers on how to stay in shape? Because that's the number one question that I was looking forward to asking you, because obviously you've done a pretty damn good job yourself. So, any women going into pregnancy, what advice do you have for them just to stay in shape?
Yeah, I can definitely vouch for all of this. So, people are always going to tell you to be careful, to slow down, and that's true. But there is a program, or a lady that I follow on Instagram. Her name is Brianna Battles, and she always talks about just pregnancy and athleticism, and she's so accurate. Like, we're not invincible, but we're also not like porcelain dolls. Like, we're people, and we are growing human life. So it's okay to slow down, but don't stop what you're doing. Like, if you're working out 5 days a week, continue to work out 5 days a week. Continue to work out 3 days a week, or whatever it may be. Like, keep moving your body just because you're growing a life. And I know that it's scary, especially for people that have gone through infertility, I can speak on this because I've been there. Um, they're afraid that something may happen to their baby. And I totally get that. But the chances of something happening to the baby are worse if you completely stop your daily routine. So just continue what you're doing. Just listen to your body, to be honest. Listen to your body, and then, you know, I say listen to your body, but like also I'm stubborn and I'm like, my shoulder could be out of place and I'm like, yeah, I'm totally fine, you know. So listen to your body, but also be smart, you know, train smart.
I had a rash on my leg for 2 years and I never got it checked out because I thought like, oh yeah, it'll just go away. And then I finally got
Yeah.
it checked out like 3 years ago, basically. So my entire 20s, like I just had a little rash on my ankle. I was like, yeah, it's fine, whatever.
Yeah.
And then finally my parents were like, you can't live in this house anymore unless you get it checked out when I was like 21. And I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll do it then. And they're like, oh yeah, it's just you like just put some cream on it. And I was like, thank God it wasn't anything else. Cause that would have been, I mean, it would be hilarious, but it would be sad at the same time if they're like, oh yeah, it's like
Right.
cancer or something like that. And you're like, oh, well, I'm an idiot. So
Yeah.
yeah, there's that. And I mean, one thing that I've obviously heard and again, don't take my word for it, because like I said, I have no experience, is that obviously, like, if you aren't working out before then, don't try to go all full on Rambo.
Yes.
Don't get afraid to be like, I'm going to put on so much weight, I'm going to need to like amp things up, because I've heard that is not good. So obviously,
Oh, yeah, you're
do
right.
not overgo things. But if you have a routine like her, yeah, just stick with your routine as much as you can and
Yeah.
decrease the weights. And what was that like that first time when you like couldn't go full, like you couldn't max out really?
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like a kid in a candy store, but telling the kid you can't have any candy. And to me, that's what gyms like. I love fitness. I love working out. And so to tell me that I can't go balls to the wall hurts my feelings a little bit. But I've realized that's more of an ego thing. I'm like, it's okay to have your ego dampened a little bit right now. And I just learned that it's best for my babies right now. And the further along you get in pregnancy, the more you learn that your baby's health is the most important thing.
I mean, that's, yeah, obviously, 100%. And, Ashely, it's just been so great having you on and talking to you about this. The moment that you announced on your Instagram that you were, expecting, I was like, okay, we got to have her on sometime later when she's later on. And then I remember we made the thing where I was like, you still gotta stay in him. And you're like, I'm going to, and she was telling the truth, everyone. So, there is that, but that, I mean, it's just, you're just a great example to a lot of people about, like obviously how you can go through not just a pregnancy, but twins. I mean, you can still maintain a good shape and still, go through that. But again, it is hilarious though when I see some of those videos where you're just like posing and you have like a super huge chest, and I'm just like, okay, that's just hilarious. I mean, it's hilarious in a good way, but it is just so
Right.
great. And I mean, Ashely, I cannot wish you anything but the best. Honestly, everyone, when this video gets released, I'm gonna wait until after she gives birth, and they'll have a little message behind saying like congratulations to her and everything like that, just as a little special thing. So when you're viewing this, everyone, Ashely had her kids safe and sound. Everything's all good. And yeah, so again, Ashely, thank you so much for coming on and doing this. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Ryan. I always enjoy being on and talking to you. It's always my pleasure.
Lastly, because I know you're a Georgia football fan, what are your predictions for this year, since we won't be talking to you during the year?
Another natty. Another national championship.
How nice is that, just to be able to say that? Where in every other football fan base, their goal is maybe just like to win the conference, maybe, or just do something. But for you, it's just like, yeah, another national title, whatever.
Yeah, but you know what? We had a few rough years, so I feel like we earned that. You know, and they earned it. They played a great 2 last seasons, and that's all I can hope for the next season. And win or lose, I'm still a Dog fan.
So I'm gonna make this really depressing before we wrap things up, just to make you feel a little bit better too about yourself. So the last time any major Minnesota sports team won any championship was 1991. I was born in 1994. They've never even made it to a championship game, any of the major sports, since then.
Yeah, that's okay.
No one here knows suffering like I do, and I will debate anyone to the death on that. But, you have your Georgia sports. I mean, I know I'm going to have to, dig on the Falcons. At least there's the fault. I mean, the Falcons are at least making myself feel a little bit better. But, again, everyone, we're talking about her. We're not talking about my sports woes, because I'm gonna start to cry myself on here, and then who knows, she'll start crying, and then they'll just become a whole thing. But again, Ashely, as always, everyone, go and follow her on Instagram. Everyone go and check her out. And again, this is Ryan Johnson, DD on the Spot, signing off. Have a great day, everyone.